Did you ever wonder who the second president of the United Arab Emirates is? No, I didn't think so. You were probably more interested in seeing who the wealthiest person in the UAE is. Either way, you came to the right place. Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan was the second president of the UAE after succeeding his father. He was one of the world's most generous philanthropists and donors. In recognition of his extensive charitable and development initiatives around the world to lessen the suffering of those in need and those affected by disasters, he received praise from international organizations. He has been honored with numerous prestigious awards, including the Sheikh Rashid Humanitarian Personality of the Year 2011. But what kind of a story does he have? What are some of his secrets? Today, we will look at the billionaire lifestyle of Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, from his early years, his path to the presidency, his vast wealth, and more. Let's get started. Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed was born in Al-Muwaji fort in Al Ain on September 7, 1948. He is the oldest child of Sheikh Hessa bint Mohammed bin Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan and the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. He finished his primary schooling at the Al Ain City School before earning his degree from the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. In his formative years, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan received guidance from his father. Sheikh Khalifa's father, who at the time was in charge of the Al Ain district, accompanied him for most of his childhood in the oasis of Al Ain and Al Buraimi. Public majlis often addressed and guided him in leadership, management, and political techniques. He also received advice from his mother, his grandmother, Sheikha Salama, and his grandfather, Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalifa. But what about his personal life? The public did not very well know much about his private life. He was reportedly an avid fan of fishing and a traditional sport of falconry, like many people in the Gulf Arab republics. Moreover, Sheikh Khalifa is well recognized for his enthusiasm for UAE-specific sports, particularly horse and camel racing. He is typically viewed as a supporter of Western modernization. It is reported that he and his first wife, Sheikha Shamsa bint Suhal al-Mazra'i, had 2 sons and 6 daughters. There are also several grandchildren left behind. Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan is one of the historical figures noted for dedicating more than 45 years to serving the nation and its people. Sheikh was just 18 years old when his father, the Emir of Abu Dhabi, selected him to serve as his envoy in the Eastern Province in 1966. He spearheaded various improvements and carried out efforts to advance local agriculture in his capacity as the Eastern Province's delegate. The public was assured of his leadership abilities by his accomplishment at this point. Later, he had several positions, including Chief Executive Officer of his father's administration, where he was responsible for overseeing the execution of projects. He was made the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi in February 1969 and later named the head of the Department of Defense. He oversaw the development of the Abu Dhabi Defense Forces, which eventually served as the foundation of the UAE Armed Forces. In 1971, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed was chosen to serve as Emir of Abu Dhabi and Minister of Defense and Finance. After a few years, the government selected him for the position of Deputy Prime Minister, and in 1974, he was chosen to lead the Abu Dhabi Executive Council. He oversaw significant upgrades that made Abu Dhabi a modern metropolis. For a reliable income stream, he founded the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority in 1976. He is now recognized for building the nation's institutions and defense capabilities. In 1976, he was appointed as the UAE Armed Forces Deputy Supreme Commander, while in 1981, he founded the Abu Dhabi Department of Commercial Buildings and Social Services. In 1991, he founded the Private Loans Authority. Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed was then elected president on November 3, 2004, following the passing of his father in November 2004. He swore on oath to uphold his father's heritage and safeguard the nation's prosperity. He concentrated on growing the oil and gas industry, traveled the country to learn about its needs, and started programs to advance infrastructure, housing, education, and social service projects. He also developed a passion for sports, particularly football. Luckily, in 2009, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan was chosen to serve as president once more. This was the time he successfully boosted the nation's growth and reached out to other countries to establish positive relationships. Some of the projects he started included the Khalifa Excellence Award, Khalifa Award for Education, Debt Settlement Fund, and Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan Foundation. In appreciation, Dubai changed the name of the tallest structure in the world from Burj Dubai to Burj Khalifa. He was one of the wealthiest kings on the entire planet. But the question is, where did he get all his wealth from? Before he died, his estimated net worth was around $20 billion. The majority of that money was earned through royalties, while the rest was left to him by his father. He has made investments across the globe. He was regarded as Abu Dhabi's largest landowner. Moreover, he owned property in the US. Speaking of Sheikh Khalifa's fortune, he is one of London's wealthiest landlords. In London, numerous structures have been purchased in the name of the Sheikh. In a report by The Guardian from 2020, the reporter said that research disclosed Sheikh's financial connections in a covert sale of real estate in London for £5.5 billion. Sheikh's residences are found in London's most costly neighborhoods. These places have extremely premium business and residential real estate. A block in this location costs more than £20 million. The Panama Papers also exposed some property transactions worth more than £1.2 billion that were carried out in London in the name of President Sheikh. Sheikh paid £1 billion in 2015 to purchase 5 buildings in London. According to the Seychelles official document, Sheikh Khalifa has spent $2 million on more than 66 acres of property in Mahe, the main island of the Seychelles, where what was to be his palace was being constructed. According to a Forbes estimate, Sheikh was in charge of 97.8 billion barrels of crude oil. The majority of his fortune comes from this. Regarding price, this natural oil is worth more than $830 billion. And now you might be wondering, what are some of the luxurious things he spent his money on? Well, he mandated the construction of a super yacht dubbed Azam in 2013, which at 590 feet would become the longest motorboat ever built. Between $400 to $600 million was spent on the building of this project. And of course, Sheikh had a private jet, fully customized to his liking. The plane is worth $120 million. And onto his car collection. He had a pyramid constructed just for his collection of cars. Among the vehicles in his collection are a custom-built Bugatti Veyron, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, F1 cars, a Rolls-Royce drophead, one of the 10 most rare SUVs ever created, the largest Bedouin caravan in the world, a flying car prototype, and a giant Dodge Power Wagon, to name a few. Basically, he is believed to have almost 400 distinct car models. However, sadly with all this wealth and fame, he died on May 13, 2022. So how did this great ruler pass away, and what happened next? Upon his passing, his half-brother Mohammed took over as ruler of Abu Dhabi, and the next day he was chosen to serve as president of the UAE. Flags flew at half-staff for 40 days during this period of national mourning, and businesses and government offices at the federal, state, and local levels of government were closed for 3 days. Many other Arab League countries also declared days of national mourning. For 3 days, the flags of Bahrain, Lebanon, Oman, Mauritania, Qatar, Egypt, and Morocco were lowered to half-staff. Kuwait's flag were half-staffed, while Jordan's government declared 40 days of mourning. 3 days of mourning were reported in Saudi Arabia, and all social gatherings, sporting events, and recreational pursuits were cancelled due to Sheikh Khalifa's death by its government. Flags in Pakistan were flown at half-mast, and 3 days of mourning were declared. On the other side, Brazil proclaimed 3 days of grief, while Algeria proclaimed 2 days of mourning with half-mast flying. Palestine ordered flags to be flown at half-staff and declared a day of mourning. India also announced a day-long period of national mourning beginning on May 14, 2022, with the flags flying at half-staff. He was a true legend, one that can never be forgotten. Sheikh Khalifa was one of the best leaders that Dubai had in memory, and his exploits and vision for the country can be felt today even though he is gone. If it were not for his abrupt passing, he would have led his country into more economic growth as he had already done in his reign. We can only hope that his dedication and vision to what his country could be will live on through his successor. Only time will tell. If you think what the Sheikh built was impressive, check out the video on screen. You won't believe your eyes.